doing, and a lot of the kind of events that we have. This is a perfect example here at Nauticon. I think most of us would agree that the hacker culture is a subculture, right? And our subcultures tend to overlap a lot with other subcultures, right? So here we're going to have Nauticon and we're going to have a rave, right? Like in Colorado, we had hackers and goths and they hung out, right? Like I think in the hacker cultures, especially in maybe smaller places in like New York, you have a lot of overlap in different subcultures. So some of the projects that you end up doing are video projects or music projects or art projects, design projects, because you have all of these other people in your line of vision, right? Because our subcultures overlap. And this is in contrast to Germany.
The overlap of two other subcultures is really rare. We have some.
They overlap hackers and lockpickers.
And that's it.
Which I think we would just say it's the same. Like most.
You don't meet the people from CCC because you meet them in other subcultures. This is really much more divided in Germany. You're in the CCC subculture or in the hacker subculture, and that's it. You don't have anything like some people hanging around with the goth, what we have in Germany, as you probably heard. But it's not that we have some overlapping subcultures, except those where we are really close to them. For example, the lockpickers and...
This is slightly different in Berlin, but mostly...
Yes. In Berlin they have overlap a bit with the art scene, and they have other overlaps.
A very cool thing called Seabase, which if you don't know about, you should look up.
The Seabase itself is not a CCC project, rather from people who... what was the sense? You can't create art and beauty with a computer.
Whatever.
You just wanted to say that this is not
They're
true.
building a space station, okay? End of discussion. Okay, so we're going to go through the strength real quick, and then we're going to wrap up and have some announcements. So, yeah, cool. Okay, so I think, why don't you tell me, what are the best things about American hacker culture? Grassroots. I'm going to say diversity, right? Like the people who go to DEF CON and the people who go to HOPE, there are some that won't go, right? Because they're just too different, right? I think that in this overlap of subculture and stuff, we get a lot of independent people doing independent projects, and these get to be really different, and we all learn from each other in that way.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think we got a way better sense of humor.
Okay, we get a better sense of humor, they have better beer. This is important,
Yeah,
okay?
we can argue on that one too.
Okay. I don't think we have to. Anything else? What's good about the American hacker subculture?
It's really youthful.
Youthful.
It's almost exclusively driven by the young. That's changing as we all get a lot older.
That's interesting, and I have to take objection. It depends on where you are. Absolutely. The scene in New York is completely different demographically from the scene in Colorado. So depends on where you are. In Colorado, it's completely driven by people who are completely over the hill, and but they have their own thing, and it's really cool. And the youthful scene in New York is youthful. What else?
We're not as stratified. You shift through the scene, you talk to different people. There's very little like politeness politics going on.
Definitely. People are real raw with each other, and I think that. Well.
Let's say a little bit more
Okay.
diplomatically than that. But
Well, I think it's a good thing. I think this real fresh honesty is one of the things that we represent, right? So that's a good thing. And I'm going to go ahead and say that we're tougher because we have to face so much stuff that we just have to have the balls to go in and do it. So I think that that's one thing that we really have on our side. What about you?
What about us? I think the main strength of the CCC is, as stressed so much today, the public image, allowing us so much. Giving a bit problem with people coming into the scene, but just writing an email to the responsible person in the German government to invite him to show up at the 2233 or talk about internet and that stuff, well, you can be quite sure that he will be there. You get buildings like, example in France, the National Library of France, which, France are, I think, as the same proud country as the United States are, and it wasn't a really big problem to get those things. You can go to somebody, talk to them, you won't have any big problem with that. Yes. The next really big difference is the infrastructure. Strength. The infrastructure and the space. We have really many places to meet, which are usually rented places, so you can stay there after 24 o'clock, like 6 o'clock in the morning, drink beer, smoke.
You really can't imagine how this changes everything. I mean, when I went to Berlin, you can go to CCCB at any time of the day or night, and there are going to be people there, and they'll speak English with you, and you're going to be drinking Club Mate and getting really, buzzy on the caffeine, and also drinking beer and watching movies and talking about political whatever. I mean, it's really sad, but I heard about New Orleans and the disaster from the Germans before I heard it here, because they're just in tune with this stuff. So there's this huge amount of discussion all the time, and sometimes they're just chilling out, and sometimes they're hacking bikes. It's cool stuff. It really changes the dynamic of the area.
If anybody's interested. Yep.
I was just going to say, if you look at all the really big name successful hacking groups out there that exist or don't exist anymore, Loft, Ghetto Hackers, CDC,
Hasty Pastry.
People at San Diego who have space. If you have
Walnut
space,
Factory.
something good will happen.
Yes.
Actually, there's a talk about a space failing.
Okay, if you have a space that you don't live in and you can't afford, good things happen. Let's talk about that.
That's another issue.
Yeah.
How important the space is can you easily see when a new group of the CCC founds itself and gets a space. It just explodes what's happening there. You have the people sitting there around for, usually you have at least 3 to 4 days. On the smaller one, Berlin is the biggest one, it's a different example, it's nearly 24/7. But on the smaller ones where you have spaces, you have 3 to 4 days where they open for about 6 to 8 hours. And if that's happening, and then the people are joining there and meeting there, talking to each other, usually all the things come up besides discussion. Yes.
So, I think we can...
Money?
I think we're fine.
We don't really have, one strength is we don't really have so much competition between the groups. There is no competition between the...
I don't know if competition is really the right word. Maybe grudges is the right word. Drama. No, they have drama. They have lots of drama. They have maybe more drama than us. But the people in the THC are going to come to the Congress, right? People in Pheno Elite are going to put on a 1,300 euro lightwork display, after the Congress, because they get along. It's no big deal, right? Even though they're different, even though they do different things, it's different. So here you have Emmanuel not going to Hope, and Jeff Moss doing everything he can to stop 2600, and basically, in my opinion. So that's another strength of them. So that's basically it. That's just wrapping up. That's our conclusions. That's what we think differences between them.
Why is Emmanuel not going to Hope?
The story as I heard it is that he went maybe 6 years ago, something like that, to DEF CON, and he was denied press credentials. Who, I guess, if anybody in the scene gets press credentials, it's probably Emmanuel. But there's been this feud between them ever since, as far as I know. So real quick, before the next speaker, I want to make a couple announcements. If you guys have radios, FRS radios, we're on channel 4. That's going to be channel your mom. We're having a party tonight in 522. So come on by. 10.
Will it be good German beer?
Actually, we have to give away these raffle tickets real fast. First person who names the beer we've been drinking. Come and get it. What else? Anybody who has been to Germany or Europe and hung out the hacker scene there? Ever?
What was the band played before here?
What? Oh, with a song when y'all came in.
You already have one.
It sounded like Reebok.
Oh, Kraftwerk. Yeah.
Okay, two more. What are questions?
Do you remember the room where the party is tonight?
The other announcement is Hope. I'm one of the organizers, and despite what you might think, it's going to be a really, really good time. I'm serious. We do have a lot of cool people and a lot of cool projects working on it. So, and we're trying to get people from their individual 2600 or whatever your group is, wherever, to come and represent, bring your stuff, and sell it or share it or whatever you're doing. So you can write me, b9punk at b9punk.org, or you can write, I think, info@2600.com, or there's hope.net is the Hope website. There's email addresses there, too. So looking for volunteers and people to come. So who's coming to Hope? Who's coming to Hope who's not in New York? Come on up. Come on up. Come on up. Come on up. Get your raffle ticket.
Okay, as she has an announcement, I'll also announce some things. We have also some cons I'd like to invite you. We have in September the Meta Rhein-Main Cow Stage, which is more a smaller thing. But as American, it might be most interesting for you to show up on the biggest conference.
We'll see you in New York this summer.
CCC
I remember your face.
CCC
If you don't
conference.
come, I'm going to find you.
And you have probably heard for the Talk of Hope that they have more German wiki than we have, because the Congress of the CCC is completely organized in English. As we have the language problem in Europe all over, we need to...
We're really working on having this German-American bridge, because I think there's a lot we can learn from each other. So we're going to have a lot of them come to Hope, and we want as many people as possible to go to the German cons, particularly the Congress in Berlin in December, right after Christmas. It's a really good time. So.
And for example, we are trying to build up something like Linkenlight at the Hope to help you to improve your public.
Sorry.